What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Driving with Duck. Always on Facebook, most of the time on YouTube, and occasionally on IGTV. I am your host, Daniel Ducksworth. So the other day, I was conversing with Lindsay, the mother of my children, and we were having a discussion. And the subject came up that it was a profound statement that I made. I'm not tooting my own horn, of course, but it was a statement that I made, and I was like, wow, that's something that's really profound. And I think it was kind of something that just was organic, that I just said, and I think I realized it as I said it about myself. I'm going to share it with you guys. So right around 2007, I was a retail sales supervisor for Verizon Wireless. And I was a retail sales supervisor for a SWAS location. A SWAS is an acronym for a store within a store, for those of y'all that don't know. And the SWAS location was located inside of Circuit City. For those of you that don't know, Circuit City was a direct competitor of Best Buy. Verizon Wireless, being inside of Circuit City, was a corporate location. It wasn't a reseller. So I was good at my job. I was a great retail sales supervisor. I worked my way up from greeter to customer care rep to a sales rep to a retail sales supervisor. I'd done all of that within a span of 5 years. I was good at consultative selling. I gave my customers what they needed, not what they wanted. I was not out there to make money. I was out there to be helpful and to have the consultative selling approach. I didn't just bombard people with shit that wasn't necessary. I sold stuff before the age of iPhones, before smartphones. They were still selling what was called PDAs back in the day, personal digital assistants. In fact, I rallied against selling PDAs because I didn't think they were necessary. Go figure, look where we are now. But I was good at what I did. And when Circuit City closed, went out of business, all of my sales reps were laid off. Now, Verizon Wireless assured everybody they were going to have jobs when Circuit City went out of business, and they lied. So all of my sales reps got let go, and I thought I was going to be safe, but sure as shit, I was the last one to be told I was demoted. They were going to demote me back to a sales rep, and I was like, no, I worked far too hard to get to where I am. If you're not going to keep me as a retail sales supervisor, then I'm just going to leave. So I left, and I was hurt. I was upset. I was angry. I devoted a lot of time. I missed a lot of birthday parties. I missed a lot of, things with my son and my brand new daughter at the time, to that company. I gave them a lot of my time. When you're working on commission, you have to do a lot of things and make a lot of sacrifices when you're in sales. And for them to just look at me and say, nope, sorry, we're going to demote you and we're going to lower your pay and, all that stuff. You're going to have to work twice as hard to get back to where you were. I was like, wait a minute, what? That makes no sense. So I just left. So I sat in my room depressed for a long time. And then I was like, all right, I got to do something. I can't just sit here doing nothing. So I started volunteering. Dalen was playing Tiny Mite football. Lindsay was the team mom for his team. So she was like, you can volunteer. They do need assistant coaches. So I ended up becoming a D-line coach for his Tiny Mite team here in town. And the head coach looked at me once football was over, and he said, hey, I coach basketball too, and I would like to have an assistant coach simply because I'm a firefighter and I may not be able to make all the games. So you could assistant coach in my place, because my current assistant coach is also a firefighter, and the shifts that we have, sometimes one of us or either both of us won't be able to make it. And I was like, well, I don't really know that much about basketball. I don't really play. I mean, what are my responsibilities? And he's like, as long as you can teach the kids how to dribble and shoot, you're fine. I was like, all right, well, I guess I can do that too, or whatever. Sounds like it would be fun. And I ended up doing that, and it was something that I grew to enjoy, especially because the head coach ended up working every damn Saturday, which was basically the days that we had our games. So I de facto ended up becoming the head coach. And I knew nothing about basketball, but it was fun. And it was something that I really started enjoying. And in fact, I ended up coaching Dalen every single year from 2nd grade all the way through the time he graduated. And then when Miri, my daughter, started playing basketball, I coached her every year she played until she moved on to becoming a competitive dancer for hip hop. Until eventually, Lindsay and I ended up becoming coordinators for the high school league, until eventually we ended up a few years ago taking over and running the whole winter basketball league. And now we are the directors of the whole damn thing from 1st grade all the way through high school. And I told you that story for 5 minutes and some change to tell you this story. I never thought 15 years ago when I left Verizon Wireless, as upset as I was, that one moment of that setback being a setup for something greater 15 years down the road. See, me losing that job and then coaching, working with children, developing them, working with parents, and doing all the things that I do, that set me up for the job that I have now. Full time, what I do is I work with adjudicated youth, right? And I also now run the full winter basketball program that I also get paid for part-time, and it's working for the city, right? So you never know what's gonna happen in your downfall. That's basically the setup and the punchline, right? Sometimes your setback is a setup for a comeback and you just don't know it. And sometimes it takes years to manifest, right? It's almost like when you plant a seed, it doesn't germinate for a long time. You got to be patient. Sometimes you're not going to see the results. You're not going to see the fruition of that dream for years. It's not going to manifest. And sometimes even you'll see a bad thing happen, something bad will happen in your life, and you'll be mad about it, and you'll go on with your life. Years down the road, you'll have long since forgotten about it, and then you'll be like, oh shit, that's why that happened? I didn't realize that whole scenario up until Lindsay and I were talking about it a couple days ago. Like I said to you, the top of this friggin' topic, right? Top of this video. I lost that job 15 years ago. I've been doing this coaching thing 15 years. I've been the director, co-director with Lindsay of this basketball league for 3 years. We ran the teen league for 3 years before that. I didn't realize that whole setup till just the other night. Can you imagine that? Family motto for my little family is service above self. We're always giving back, always volunteering in the community. My love for that didn't start until I lost my job with Verizon Wireless. Had that setback not happened, I might not have realized that part of myself. So for you, sometimes if a negative situation happens, a negative thing happens, you can go feel free to wallow in your pity and your sorrow, absolutely. But sometimes you won't realize the flip side of it until later. Sometimes you gotta wait. Like I even said in my last video, the signs will follow you in your present. The future's gonna be a gift, but you may not realize that gift until later on down the road. Just like if you're at mile marker 1 on the highway, you don't know what's at mile marker 10 if you've never traveled that road before. Nobody's eyesight's that good, especially if the road has twists and turns and everything like that. You're not gonna know what's at mile marker 10 by your eye. Of course, you can look on your phone, see a map, whatever, but if it's a road less traveled that nobody knows, you're not gonna know what's around that bend. You're gonna have to pay attention to it. In life, that's just the way things work, right? You never know what's coming up ahead. You only know what happened behind you. It's just one of those things that, it's a blessing in disguise, and you don't know who it's from or where it's going, but the only thing you can do is just ride it out and see what happens and work with what you're given and make something out of nothing. And sometimes the universe is working things in your favor, and you just have to hold on to what you can hold on to and manifest something out of it, because what you put out into the universe is what you're going to get from it. And I am slowly coming to the realization right now that seeing the people around me and what they're going through, and, you know, noticing people are starting to, you know, have their trials and tribulations, I just wanted to reach out and just say that sometimes when you're going through it, you really have to buckle down and realize that sometimes the negativity happens just the universe's way of telling you, I want to see what you're going to do with this. I'm waiting on you to see what you're going to make with this recipe, because I'm telling you this, there's something good that's going to come out of this. I promise you. You just have to take the ingredients I give you and make something good with it. And it's not making lemonade out of lemons. It's something way more intricate than that, I promise you. It's not basic science, it's chemistry. You just got to put in the work and elbow grease. It's a basic message. This has been another edition of Drivin with Doug. On Facebook, search up hashtag DRIVINWITHDUCK. On YouTube, look for Drivin, no G, with Doug. Subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications. And then on IG, look up duckbeard_the_black. That is how you'll find me, and you'll see all my videos there. And that's really it. I wish you the best day. Love and light, my friends.